In recent versions of Pengalin, we added the ability to proxy raw TCP and UDP traffic through the tunnel and out of the VPS. This allows you to create resources that aren't just HTTP or HTTPS web UIs. You can run things such as game servers like Minecraft and access them remotely without having to open up any ports on the network running your server, your Minecraft server. So that could be useful if you're behind CGNAT or you just simply don't want to open ports for security reasons. So I'm going to demonstrate how to use Pengalin with Crafty controller to run a Minecraft server. I'm going to run the Minecraft server on my laptop and then proxy that through Pengalin on an Amazon EC2 VPS in the cloud, and then I'm going to show how I can connect to that server in Minecraft. So to begin, I already have a running Pengalin instance. It's very easy to install. You can follow the documentation or follow some of our YouTube videos or others that I can link in the description below. You will also need a domain name that points to that Pengalin instance and set up the correct DNS records. But again, that's all very easy and it's spelled out in our documentation. So I'm going to begin then by installing Crafty controller. So this is their landing page. You can scroll down to where it says Docker, click on it, and then find the code snippet for Docker Compose, which is what I'm going to use here. So I'm going to copy this, and I've already created a folder on my computer called demo, and I just need to create a file called dockercompose.yaml, and then I'm going to paste in that Docker Compose that I just copied. And you notice here it's just opening up the Minecraft ports and then some ports for the web interface, and then it's mounting these volumes for storing things like logs and the actual server files themselves. So I'm going to save this, and then I'm just going to create also a directory called Docker, I think is what was used in that Docker Compose there. And then if I ls, you can see what I just created. And then I can run Docker Compose up to start everything, and you'll notice it will. I already pulled the Crafty container, so that's why it started instantly, but if you haven't yet, it'll take a moment to download the Crafty container and then start everything up. And then in a second here, we can go to https:// and then localhost 8443, and then just click next, and then we can get to our Crafty controller dashboard. The default credentials are stored inside of that Docker Compose, inside of that Docker volume. So I'm going to do cat default creds. I can log in with this password and admin. Let's try that here. Perfect. I'm going to skip the survey for now, and then I'm going to click create server and select, make this a little bit bigger, I'll select Minecraft servers, vanilla, the latest version. I'm just going to call this MC Demo. I'm going to use the default memory NAT for now. The server port locally is going to be 25565. Then I'm going to click build the server, and then I'll start it. You might have to click on it and then click start here, and then it's going to ask you to accept the EULA or the EULA. You should click yes. In the meantime, I'm going to go to my Pengalin instance that's already running, and I'm going to log in. Click no. And then make a new organization. I'm just going to call it lab. And then site, I'm just going to call this laptop. And I need to copy this command because I can only see this once. I will need this to run on the same network that's running the Minecraft server, so that way I can establish that tunnel. So I have it copied. I'm going to click I've copied and then click create site. I'm also going to just go ahead and store those credentials in a file here, just so I have them. You don't have to do this. You can store them in your notes, whatever. And then the next thing I can do is I can go ahead and create a resource. And for this resource, I'm going to point it to the domain of Crafty. So that way I can access the Crafty dashboard remotely if I want. So I'll call this Crafty and then use Crafty also as the subdomain. Put it on the laptop site. If I type in anything here, it's not going to work because I need to install Newt first on my network. And I'm going to use the same Docker Compose to install Newt. And in our docs, we have a little snippet here for adding Newt as a as a container to your Compose file. So I'm just going to edit the Docker Compose again, and then add in Newt. Just make sure all of our formatting is correct here. And then I need to go ahead and copy in those credentials that I had earlier, that I copied into that text file. So let me go into that text file, and I'm going to copy this ID and put that in for the ID here, and then I can copy this secret, paste in the secret, and then the URL. Perfect. I'm gonna close this window here, and now I can stop the Crafty controller again, and then I'm going to start it up again. So you'll notice after starting this up, Newt created and established a tunnel to our Pengalin instance, and then Crafty started second. So now we can go back to our Pengalin dashboard and notice that our site is online, which is fantastic. And we can then go and add a target to the resource we created earlier. And because Newt is running in the same Docker Compose stack as Crafty, I can address this as Crafty and then 8443, and this is HTTPS because that's how we accessed this dashboard before. Click add the target and then save. And then if I visit this URL, I can now access my Crafty controller externally outside of my network. And then I can use the same credentials from earlier. So I have my password, I can log in, and I can see everything remotely. The next step is I need to actually forward that port, the 25565 port, through the VPS. And I need to create another resource in Pengalin, and this time it's going to be not an HTTP resource, it's going to be a TCP resource, and it's going to be for 25565. I'm going to call this Minecraft on the same site, and it's going to give me 2 new code snippets. So I need to add this one to the traffic config file. So on my VPS running Pengalin, I'm going to go into the config where all the config is and go to traffic, and then edit the dynamic config and add the entry point. I'm going to edit the static config here and then add the entry point here under entry points. Just put it right here at the top. Perfect. And then I need to also edit the Docker Compose file for Pengalin and open up port 25565, which is the second piece here, under gerbil. Oops, 25565. And then lastly, I also need to make sure that the port is exposed on the VPS. So in Amazon, I need to edit the security group for my VPS, and I need to allow an inbound rule for custom TCP to 25565 on all traffic. So the last step is I just need to restart the whole stack. So I can sudo docker compose down, and then I can sudo docker compose up -d. Then I can check the logs by doing docker compose logs follow, make sure everything started up correctly, and it looks like it has. Okay, next I can click go to resource, and I just need to add a target to address that Minecraft server running internally. And I can use Crafty again as the host name because it's on the same Docker network, and I can use 25565 as well. I'll add the target, click save. So next I can actually go connect to the Minecraft server. The server is still running here, as I can see in the Crafty dashboard. And in Minecraft, I can add a new server, and I can use the Pengalin address, the domain name that I use to access Pengalin, since it points to the IP. And 25565, click done, and there we go, I can connect. and you can see the in the logs here that I have connected, and there you go. No ports have been opened on my local network, and it's all being proxied through the WireGuard tunnel and out of the VPS. You can apply this to all kinds of game servers or just any kind of traffic that isn't HTTPS, like a database, for instance, that you want to access remotely.